Fucking opens with your cough.
Yeah.
Damn, I got this shit turned up. It's a lot more sensitive for me, but I think that's the only way to track my voice here. Like I've been listening to these recordings and my shit's always low. I've been told by a lot of people when I'm out in public I talk too low.
Oh. Well.
And I think that's what's going on. Whoa, now my voice is all fucking clear. Hold on, I'm gonna point the mic at my mouth. Alright.
Are you standing up straight?
No, I'm always sitting down on my couch, like looking at the laptop, got all the equipment and watching the bars and shit. Like,
are you all slouched over?
Yeah, I'm slouched like. Alright, I'll be honest. There's been a few times where I stood up after we've done a podcast and my junk is all numb. Like I'll be numb from like sitting here. I was thinking about setting up like a desk or something, like setting up a recording spot. I guess some people would call that a studio.
Yeah.
But I don't get shit like that. I was actually
a workspace.
Yeah, well, a workspace, exactly, because this is all set up on my coffee table here.
Oh,
I'd rather.
Come on, man.
Yeah, I know. Come on, man. Come on, man.
I mean, I thought I'm at a desk.
Yeah, I saw your setup when we were doing that, the Zoom. Is that what it's called, Zoom?
Yeah.
Yeah, we're doing that. The Zoom with Linus.
Yeah.
I saw your shit. It's pretty cool.
It's alright.
It's alright.
No, when we first started out, my setup was different.
Yeah.
But since then, I'm in a different direction now. Before I was.
Yeah.
But we've been doing this so long that I've changed where I'm sitting. So.
Oh yeah.
It's just like how long we've been doing this now? For a couple months.
Dude.
Few months.
Alright, well, that's something we should announce here for everybody listening is I went back and I had 9 and 9 already recorded, and I listened to one of them and it was like 11 seconds long. And that was like a recording of Derek leaving the apartment here. That's all it was. So we actually, right now, we're recording number 18, so this is episode 18. Pretty exciting stuff. And nobody's going to hear it for another 18 weeks. I think I think I need to double it up at the very least, where we're recording 1 a week and producing 2 a week. Because I don't want to be behind the whole time, and I think if we have guests, they want to hear it as soon as possible. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like fresh off the press, they want to fucking hear it. So I might have to change up my tax here. I keep thinking about it, and that's what I always do before a big project or a big change. I always think about it a lot. So.
Well, you think about it though, it's prolonging it, really. So sometimes it's okay to just little by little. Just saying. But
what do you mean, little by little?
I mean, like once a week. Even if it does seem like you're waiting. Sometimes,
yeah.
I don't know, but I get what you're saying.
See, that's the thing. I don't want to flood it where nobody's got the time to listen to this thing. Like I hear people listening, they're like, "Oh yeah, I listened to 20 minutes, and then I'm gonna come back to it." And it's like, which I've done all the time when I've been, trying to listen through these as I'm editing them. And that's the thing. This I don't know. I lost my whole point.
No, it's funny. We start on we seem focused, and then towards the end we kind of ripped apart what we were focused on.
Yeah.
It becomes a whole bunch of silly stuff.
Just tore it down.
For me, I'm like, today's the day it got released, the new episode. So
yeah. I'm happy about that. I came home and started working on it, like immediately.
Yeah,
like it was just it was something to do, and it was kind of in the background. Like I'd started up, there was a lot of processing. Like you got to let it just sit and process.
I think a lot of waiting.
No. So, but you got to start it. You got to start it. And you just got to understand it's going to, hours from now, there'll be a video online, which is what we successfully pulled off here, which I'm pretty proud of.
Yeah. No, I'm proud too.
Dude, we've been going 18 to 19 weeks solid here. I'm pretty proud of that.
Yeah, it's
I'm talking like it's an anniversary.
No, chill.
Relax, bro. Take it easy. All right, well, let's jump into this, man. We just kind of been sitting around gabbing here. Did you make a list?
I did. That's why I asked you earlier about the one movie, because I know we talked about it like during a podcast just about it, but it's on my list, but I still want to do the separate one.
Where we do it based on there? On Smoke Signals? We mentioned it several times, at least in these past 3 episodes. There's the ones that are posted. I'm pretty sure we mentioned Smoke Signals at least twice, or in at least 2 of the podcasts, and we still haven't done it. 18 episodes later.
Yeah, well, I think we're supposed to watch it.
Yeah, well, there you go.
I haven't seen it since, but
yeah. Well,
I want to do a podcast just on that, but
well, I prefer I watch it before we start trying to talk about it.
All right, well, maybe I'll take it off my list then and just substitute it.
Whoa. Let's not start chopping the lists up here. I actually got a little crazy here and started like doing slashes. So my 5 is a movie/movie. Number 2 and 4, I've kind of put together like 2 kinds of movies. I'm starting to group up. Like, this is how my brain works. I'm starting to group them as the type of effect they had on my life.
Oh, I didn't really go that far, but
1, 2, 3.
I picked
5, 6, 7.
You know what? Yeah, I'm gonna take, because I did have another movie because I was thinking about it too, like movies that I watched or DVDs that I watched and saw the world different, or kind of came out with a different feeling than I started out with, or I don't know. Just sometimes the soundtrack too. There's good music on it, and it gives you a uplifting kind of.
Yeah.
It's like watching a painting or seeing a painting and getting something from it. I don't know.
Yeah, definitely.
So so that was pretty much today's topic, was your top 5 films or movies that impacted your life.
Yeah.
And
all right, so let's get it on. I want to hear your number 5, like, and I'm calling like 5 like the least of the 5. But it still made the list. So
all right.
what's your 5?
Number 5 is a film called Rounders.
Rounders
with
no, just
not Ben Affleck, but Ben Affleck's homie.
Matt Damon.
Matt Damon, yeah. He plays poker, but he's pretty much like I don't know if we say he's addicted, but he kind of has a problem, or the people he's involved with or he grows up with are sort of like bad influence on him, playing cards. And, he's going to law school at the time, and I don't know, it's just a pretty cool film where he like has to earn back all this money, and he's like owning the mob, and it's just him having to kind of like repay all this debt that he owes, and with poker or like playing cards in Vegas, it always kind of was like you're playing the man. It doesn't really matter about the cards, but I don't really know too much about the game itself, but just the idea of someone knowing how to read people and know the math about cards and to actually make a living out of it, but to hustle people, and so to see this guy kind of redeem himself and I don't know, just be. That was a good film, and just some of the last scenes of it where he kind of like wins back all the money he owes, and he figures out the trade the guy does when he's figuring out how he's gonna. I know with poker, they say like people kind of have their cues they do, and unconsciously, and
their tells.
Yeah, so he's like reading people, and he kind of figures out what this guy does, and I don't know. It's a good movie, and there's not a lot of action in it, but it's more. I think it's just the storyline that's pretty cool.
Alright, how did it change your life? Like, how did it change your life? Like, what were you like after? Like, what effect did it have on you?
What's kind of crazy about the movie is his friend gets out of jail, and it's this guy that's really not. I don't want to say he's invested in their friendship, but he's kind of a low life, and will do you dirty, and this is his friend, and so I don't know. Sometimes it seems like it's not so much who you know; it's like who you grow up with, and sometimes you got to make choices for yourself versus. Trying to be loyal to, someone you grew up with. And in the film, it was like he was trying to be real to his friend, which, got him into a lot of trouble, but yeah, he was able to kind of get himself out of it and, still be alive at the end of the film. So I just got a lot of good feeling about it, because he had borrowed money from his one of his, because he was in college and he quit college to just pretty much be a card player, because at the end of the movie he goes to Vegas to play.
Yeah.
Maybe I like the idea of just that's your lifestyle. Playing cards, and yeah, I don't know if that answers the question, but What about you?
All right. This is one of the for number 5. This is one of the slash ones. Like I had 2 movies in mind, but they kind of coexist. Sorry, I don't know what made my nose run, man. It's out of the blue. So the movies I put in here, the first one I put was Daylight, and Daylight was Sylvester Stallone, and it's like this big like accident happens, like this. I think it was like toxic chemicals on a truck blew up. Like they accidentally crashed in this underground tunnel, and the whole idea, and it's in a big city, and the whole movie plays out with all these people kind of living their random lives, and they all wind up in the tunnel together, and the fucking tunnel blows up, and so the entrances, they collapse, and like all this. Like it goes under a river, so water's coming in from the river, like from above. Like it's this huge emergency situation. And then, so it's like danger, like action, explosions, all this like exciting stuff's going on, and it's chaos. It's pure fucking chaos. And Sylvester Stallone, this one man, he shows up, and he's experienced and skilled and fucking honorable and like hardcore. And he's like, I'll go in and fucking help these. I'll help get these people out. And I always like that kind of scenario of going to, putting your life on the line and going to try to save people in this scary, unpredictable situation. That always did it for me. I always liked that. And the other slash movie I have is Volcano. With Tommy Lee Jones. And it's like set in California, and it's a volcano's popping up in the middle of the tar pits. And same scenario, it's this, unpredictable emergency situation, and then Tommy Lee Jones is this experienced, hardcore, real man that's like, all right, I'm gonna do something about it. And he goes out and he starts, trying to attack this volcano with any means possible to try to save lives and curb the amount of people that wind up dying. He's out there putting his life on the line, trying to save people, and that kind of goes on the same line. For me, that does something for me. I don't know what it is, but like the way, I guess what it did to me, the way it changed my life, is it made me want that. It made me want to be skilled and sure about myself, like what the next step is.
Yeah.
Now, I watched, these are old movies, and I watched them when I was a kid, so I guess that's kind of why.
How old were you when you saw this film, or both of these films?
Shit. I had to be in high school or middle school when I first saw them. And I've watched them a million times since then, and I still watch it like with enthusiasm. Like, man, this is good shit. It's So, if we're putting a date on it for the listeners, I left high school in 2004. I graduated, and in middle school, I guess that was, what is that, like 99, 98, 99, 97 maybe, and it made me want to be that. It made me want to be skilled, sure about myself. I wanted to be the man, and I wanted to fucking, put all that towards helping people, like in the time of need, like in an emergency.
Yeah.
You can kind of see where I'm going with this, but that's how it changed my life. It's like I want that, and I didn't even know it, but as a kid, I wanted to emulate that.
Well, I think it's a brave kind of choice to be and that's what we like is, the hero come save the day.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
But Sylvester Stallone, who else kind of falls in that? Who fits that character role? Because I think like Steven Seagal kind of.
Yeah, well, all the classics.
Chuck Norris is in
there. I was just thinking Arnold Lal.
Oh yeah. I like Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Hell yeah.
He was pretty cool.
Hell yeah.
But Sylvester Stallone is like he's Rocky. So.
He's lacking?
No, Rocky.
Oh yeah. I was like, whoa. You've gone too far, sir. You've gone too far. Yeah, no, definitely. He was
Volcano sounds like I might have seen him, but Tommy Lee, like, I wouldn't imagine him being
the leading man.
I picture him being the villain, but I gotta rewatch it.
Well, he was the villain in Batman.
He could do anything.
One of the worst Batmans ever. He was the Val Kilmer Batman.
What?
Yeah. He was Two-Face.
Huh.
He was partnered up with Jim Carrey as the Riddler. It was an okay movie for all those huge Val Kilmer Batman fans out there.
Yeah,
it wasn't my favorite. I'll just say that. While we're talking about movies, I'll put that out there.
All right. Well, we documented that. All right. What about number 4?
No, I'm asking you. What's your 4? What's number 4?
My number 4? Actually, this is the one I was thinking about earlier, and I forgot. It's a movie. It's not. There's a lot of different. There's multiple characters to where it's not just one storyline, but they're all kind of intertwined.
Okay.
But again, I think the music plays a key part in films for me. So this one was from an era where I'm like, it's like wasn't born really in this era, but it's the grunge era with like Pearl Jam and Nirvana and Alice in Chains, and I feel like that's what I'm from.
Yeah.
And this film is it's called Singles, and
what is it called?
Singles.
Signals.
Singles. Yeah, I mean
like music singles.
Nah, like being single, like like not having a partner and looking for a partner. So the whole movie is kind of based around these guys that live together, and there's this one guy that's he's actually a drummer for a band. I want to say Matt Damon, but
wow,
it's not him.
Tell me it is him, and I'm starting to get the picture here that you're in love with Matt Damon.
Nah, it's not Matt Damon.
Damon.
I'm bad with names, so.
Okay.
So there's like a drummer that's like he's a really not so good musician, but he really like takes his craft serious.
Yeah.
There's this guy that's working for transportation, like he's trying to like build a subway in Seattle. It's all based in Seattle, so I think that's another reason why, because that's where a lot of the bands that were considered grunge came out of in that area. So like Pearl Jam's in it, and And there's a part in the movie where the guy's reading a review of his concert, and he tells him to read it out loud, and it's really not a good review. And so all his response was like, he says, all this negative energy is making me stronger. And so, I don't know, it was just a film that I enjoyed watching because there was a lot of good music on it, but it was kind of also like about that stage in your life where you don't have everything you want, or you're like striving towards something but you don't get it. And, I like that movie. The soundtrack is bomb, and yeah, it's like, again, it's not a lot of action in it, but there's a lot of funny lines in it. More of a comedy romance, I guess. Check it out.
I'm gonna have to. Like, so far, like, congratulations, you freaking stumped me on 2 movies. I've heard of Rounders, and I still haven't seen it. And I still wondering if it's worth watching, but if it's your number 5, then I gotta watch it. And then you're saying Singles. 2 movies I have not seen. You congratulations, you stumped me. Now, I mean, there's a shit ton of movies out there, but like, I've seen a lot.
Yeah. Well, like I said, you got more movies on me.
I probably wasted more of my life, is what we're saying here. Okay, all right. My number 4. Wait. So let me get this straight. You before we move on to that, you were saying what you took from Singles was about striving for what you want and being okay with not getting it. What was the lesson, or like, how did it change you? Like, how did it affect you?
And I think there's a romanticized lifestyle you're supposed to have. Again, like those milestones, like getting married, or having kids, or graduating college or something. All these different things that once you do those things, everything's set. And it's really not the case. Like, after college, you gotta find a job, or it might not be a job that you want to do that's related to your degree, so I don't know, it's just, or you get married to the wrong person and you're actually miserable, or you have kids and they're not even yours. It's just because you meet those milestones doesn't mean your life is happily ever after. And so Singles was kind of like, you're on your own, and life is not always like this perfect place, and your life is like, kind of like
sounds very grudgy. I just want to say this right now.
Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of what it was going for, because you can like have all this swag, but doesn't mean you're gonna find the right person, or you could be around the right person but then go everywhere else trying to look for them, even though they're right there. So it's just, I don't know, there's a lot of things going on in the film, but it was always just kind of like going out, and there's a lot of stuff that is still a thing now that was kind of like just starting like going to concerts. There's scenes where they're at shows and trying to talk to somebody and it's all loud, or after a show hanging out. It's just
when you saw Singles, were you already a musician?
I mean, I think that might have been what put me on, because like songs that I wanted to learn, like a Pearl Jam song, "Stay, Love and Trust." It's on that movie. It's not on any other seat. Well, it's on their greatest hits, I think. But
would you go a step further and say that this started you towards music, or a part of it?
I think it just strengthened it, fueled it, kind of. But I mean, I was already into it already. But I think it was more like with grunge. It was kind of like just anybody could be the rock star. You could just be the average Joe. Yeah. But then it's like the average Joe still has a day job, or they work at a coffee shop, or or they don't have a job and they just do random things. It's just. I think maybe it was more like being a musician, actual thing, rather than like it being a romanticized thing. It was actual, like not all musicians are liked and are going to be given their props in the music review. It's just, it was almost kind of gave a more realistic picture of a musician, rather than like the 80s version of a kind of like partier, You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, well, grunge, man. Grunge. It's like, shit's fucked up, but it's okay. Like, I'm feeling all this emotion. When I think about grunge, like, I love grunge music. but when you really get down to it, it's like, I feel like it's muddy and just a little dirty and grimy, grunge. It's like, like you're sitting in filth and it's just kind of, it's alright, I'm fucking grunge. Like, you know what I mean? Like fuck yeah, like fuck yeah, fuck you, like grunge. I don't know, like there's this, it's like right on, but shit's fucked up at the same time. Like that's the feeling I get from grunge. And that movie sounds very grungy. Your number 5 Rounders sounded grungy.
Yeah, well, I think, like I said, I'm from grunge. I feel like.
Yeah. Well, this is interesting, man. It's very interesting.
All right. Well, what do you got next? Number 3 or?
I'm gonna say my number 4. Like my list is all fluid now. Like I had all these movies, but I kind of feel like 2 of them I added on because we talked about it or I just watched it. But I just changed my number 2 to number 4, which is Fearless.
Changing shit.
Whoa! You can't change shit. It's too late in the game. Fearless.
Fearless with
Jet Li.
Alright.
It's Fearless with Jet Li.
Okay, I'm thinking of Fear with
Alicia Silverstone and
I think so.
Shit.
No, but I got Fearless, yeah, let's.
So Jet Li. I want to say they're in Japan, but I think it was China. No, China. It was China because he fights a samurai in the end, and they were like, all right, he's from a different culture, so the samurai is Japan. He's a fighter in China, and it's like his entire life. Like I've seen this movie later on in my life. Like it barely. maybe not later on in my life. Let's say after high school, I'm thinking I'm an adult, and I'm experiencing experiences that are both good and bad, and this is how I feel. And Fearless, it follows this guy from being a kid to adulthood, and it's like he's learning about his dad, and he thinks fighting is right on, the end all be all, and he winds up becoming this angry fighting person, and then it like ruins his life. It's like he pushes people away, he butts heads with the wrong people, he winds up hurting a man, like killing him, and then they get revenge, and then he's basically thrown his life away, and then in the end he finds peace and comes back and unites the fucking country. Great movie. So
what was it?
It's my number 4. It was number 2 because it really, it's one of my favorite movies. I got a ton of favorite. I got a whole giant list. We're barely scratching the surface of 5 here.
Well, what was it? I mean, because like the whole warrior ninja.
Yeah. Well, for me,
out of all the other ones, what was it about this one
that made me? Well, like I said, I watched it, I experienced it later on in life, which was probably the right time, because as I've mentioned a million other times, you grow up with expectations and hopes and ideas of what adulthood is and what who you're going to be, and then life can spin it around. And for me, what I took it from, I grew up with a fucking temper. Like I had to fight a lot of people because I'm also white, and I grew up on the reservation, so it's like I felt like I was fighting all the time. And I had a distant father, so it was like I was always seeking that approval, or something. I don't know what I was seeking, but I was like angry. Grew up, I got stronger, started fighting back, got still not great, and then I grow up and I realized I'm a fucking person, that whatever happens to me, whatever happens to other people, it's like it's how you roll with it, it's how you learn, it's about character development, and then finding peace and being your best when you're at peace. And I took from that the lesson of controlling your temper, which I still struggle with, controlling your emotions and finding peace amongst your family and your people, and finding a place where you belong. So that speaks loads of who I am, and I think that's why it resonated so much with me when I watched it. I was like, if listeners haven't seen this, if you haven't seen it, I recommend you go watch it. It's like a lifelong journey kind of movie, and it's pretty freaking great. Like I always enjoy martial arts too. Like
Jet Li.
Yeah, Jet Li is graceful and it's wonderful.
Jet Li does some dope films with this martial arts. But I think that's what I meant, because there's so many, but there's breaking down the storyline. It's like, whoa, it's a powerful. The meaning behind it, because that recipe of a fighter, may kind of went the wrong path. Having that clarity.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah. I'm gonna jump into this.
Was he number 3?
Number 3.
I'm taking notes here.
I have Juice.
Juice.
With Tupac.
Oh my God! Really? Okay, go ahead.
I mean, I had the movie, the VHS of this film, and then again the soundtrack, the key element, and the tape. I had the tape with the Juice soundtrack.
No kidding.
It was awesome. Yeah. A lot of like rappers that were up and coming in the '90s.
Yeah, Tupac included.
Yeah, so and Tupac was he plays Bishop in the film. I don't know if you've seen it, but the premise is pretty much these group of kids that they're still in high school, but they're pretty much, I think, living in New York or somewhere, and they're they did school. They're pretty much just kind of just living in the jungle, and they decide to rob a store, a bodega, liquor store. And Tupac, who plays Bishop, kills the guy that they robbed, and in that time, he also kills one of their actual friends that was kind of like the leader of the gang. So suddenly there's like conflict with the three guys that are still alive that were in the robbery that are pretty much teenagers, and Tupac that kind of got all this power and sort of is he's the villain, but his character, who he plays, and how he he's so kind of like, maybe he was really into the role, but like to see him play him that is like exciting, just like Al Pacino in Scarface. Like he's a drug dealer, bad guy, but yet his character is so good that it just, you're still drawn to the film, and you're still like wanting to know what they're gonna say and do.
Yeah.
So, and then like even like DJing, there's a lot of like Queen Latifah's in the film, and there's just a lot of Samuel L. Jackson's in the film. There's just a lot of like up and comers, and
one of the buddies is trying to become a rapper. Right?
No, he's a DJ. He's a DJ.
That's right. He's mixing and all that.
Yeah.
He's scratching. Yeah. Okay.
So I mean, that whole, again, that late '90s era, I think.
Yeah.
I don't know. It was just a good movie.
No. I'm going back to it in my mind.
You seen it? What are your?
Well, what's funny is I saw it as a kid. Made no sense. I probably walked out and played outside instead. But I just recently went back and watched it because it was on one of these channels that I got. Like it was Netflix or Prime, and it was Juice. And I just watched it. I think I watched it because I wanted to see Tupac. I had recently saw something about, like a documentary about Tupac, and I was thinking about him, and saw Juice, and I was like, I'm gonna go back and watch that. I didn't remember shit from it, especially when he killed that guy. Like, I was like, all right, they're gonna pull off this robbery or something and change their life. And of course, he blasts that guy.
Yeah.
And then he blasts his own buddy too, and it's like, damn, like.
Oh yeah.
It just gets out of hand so fast, and then he's like, he wants to be the badass, so he just keeps going and going, and then he gets the juice after he's fucked up everybody.
Well, that was the funny part of the film, or not the funny part, but the line at the end of the film where the guy's like, "You got the juice now." It's kind of like you're the guy in charge now, or you're the... Yeah,
you finally got what you wanted.
Yeah, but that wasn't what he wanted.
No,
and it was kind of like, I don't want that, but... I don't know, it was sort of like, regardless if you have the juice or not, you gotta survive, you know.
Yeah.
But
and what'd you take from that?
You know what I thought was cool watching it as a young kid was that they were like ditching school and running from, like, because there's a part where one of the guys like escaped school and the other ones are already waiting for him, and probably the security of the school is like chasing after them, and he just kind of like just shoves them off. It's like, man, go ahead and run. And they rob a record store too, but they have a scheme together, and it's just there's parts of it where they're like, if Tupac didn't or Bishop didn't shoot the guy and they made it okay, the film would have been like a good time. I don't know why, but it was just because all that stuff happened. They went a different way because they were really close at one point in the beginning, but they were robbing, of course. But it was just, I think I like the idea of just, you know, having that fun time with your gang. You know.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it as glorifying stealing, but I don't know. Maybe it did, but yeah.
So friendship, would you say? Like you said,
kinda.
Like you said, the gang, like they're tight knit and they're.
Yeah, they were cool in the beginning, and then they got into that robbery, and they just kind of everything went the other way.
Went tits up, yeah.
And it was like, you know, you're really on your own.
Huh. It's crazy.
Yeah. But what do you got?
I'm going the totally different way. This is the one that
changing your shit again.
what's up?
So you changing your list again?
No, I actually just nailed it. It's nailed down. I didn't change 3 at all. This one was 3 on the original list. I'm sitting here writing it down as I'm going here. The Land Before Time.
With Will Ferrell?
What? No. It's the really old dinosaur movie.
Land Before Time.
It was like a cartoon.
Yeah.
Littlefoot, and
Land Before Time. That's one you.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That thing shaped my life. Like as a kid, I watched it 100 times, and then and like right off the freaking bat, it's fucked up. It's like death. Littlefoot's parents die.
Yeah. You know, it's a tragedy.
Yeah, trying to protect him from Sharptooth. Is that what it was? Sharptooth?
I think so.
The T-Rex.
That's been a minute.
Dude, as I'm getting older, I'm getting super freaking emotional, man. Like, I start... Oh, wow, the mic. That's what the mic sounds like when it actually works right. I'm getting really emotional in my old age here. And I'm not even old, but I'm getting old. Like, when I'm around 20-something-year-olds, like, I feel old.
Man.
Like, damn, I remember being 18 and I knew nothing.
Yeah.
But I thought I did, you know? Like, I thought I was the shit. Fuck yeah, I just graduated. I'm the shit. I'm an adult now. God damn. So, Land Before Time, it dealt with death, and it dealt with friendship, and it dealt with courage. It was, so the death thing, the parents die right in the beginning of the film. He's left by himself, and he has to survive. And it turns out, like, he probably could have just laid down and died, and I think he was just laying down. And then he's got his special leaf and all that, and it's dying. and it turns out friendship with really random people, really different characters, they got him through it. He got to where he was headed. Like, he finally made it. And I'm about to start crying right now. I'll start getting choked up. I went back and watched this movie maybe I want to say 2 years ago, maybe 3 years. And I just started sobbing right off the bat. Like, I just started crying. Like, I got really freaking emotional. And what it was that I watched it so many damn times, and as a kid, maybe I didn't always understand the whole film, but I had, it helped develop my emotions. And play with my emotions. And so I went back and watched it. I just started immediately sobbing like a baby. Like, all this feeling and emotion came back, because I guess I hadn't watched it in forever. Because, I mean, they've made 1 million sequels.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Like, at some point, it's probably like The Land Before Time, number 65, Dinos in New York, like, ridiculous. They're probably on, like, number 32 right now or something. Like, it's over now. It probably doesn't exist. I bet nobody's...
It went pretty long.
Yeah.
And they milked it pretty hard.
Yeah, they beat that dead horse until it was alive again. And then killed it again.
Yeah, for real. But when you're thinking about it, I forgot that there was that tragic part in the beginning, but
man.
Throughout the middle part, there's a lot of funny interactions and good shit
and arguments
that you kind of look forward to.
Yeah.
But then, there's that's why it dragged on so long, is because they didn't want to get to the end of what actually happens.
Right, the big rock, the asteroid. I think I stopped watching it because it started going off the rails. It became all that, like, they changed the characters' voices, which they had to. By then it was like 10 years old or something, The voices were different. They got new people, and they created all these extra little characters. I just stopped watching. But The Land Before Time, that thing changed my life. It developed my emotions. Like, I had a very young age. I had to cry, and I had to laugh, and I had to be angry, and I had to be ecstatic that he made it through, and he dealt with adversity. All like that's what a lot of our older school movies were. The children's movies was they're uplifting and trying to teach all these, these life practices, these traits that they were trying to teach everybody.
Yeah, this wholesome.
Wholesomeness. And so I grew up with some wholesome, thank God. I mean, I don't know how much it's carried over into my adulthood, but...
Well, I mean, even I think a kid is just being interested in the color rather than the...
Yeah, we're a little easier to distract.
Than the theme or what they're conveying, but it just comes along with it.
Yeah.
I'm surprised. I remember watching it, being kind of... I think all kids have a fascination with dinosaurs.
Yeah, hell yeah.
So this was sort of like getting to not experience it, but at least kind of thinking what it would be like if there was a dinosaur and it was separated from its core group or whatever was going on. It kind of seemed like they're escaping dangers. Again, like real life shit that's happening that this young person is going through.
Yeah, on their own for the first time.
Yeah.
Good. It was good. It definitely changed me, and it kind of makes me want to go back and watch it.
Huh.
Next time I want to cry, you know.
Yeah. Maybe I'll show it to my niece and see what she thinks.
Yeah, I was just thinking that I want my boy to see it. Let Amadeus watch it. See what he thinks.
Is there singing in that?
There were definitely in the following films. I feel like there might have been a number or two.
Okay.
Maybe not. I feel like that's what turned me off in the next group of films. Was they were like doing all these melodies
numbers.
And they were doing musical numbers, and I don't like, if you go back, like the first one was like old school artistry, like the drawings were a little rougher, a little.
Yeah, it was a real life movie.
Yeah, and I think I don't. Now that I think about it, I don't think there were musical numbers in it.
Okay. I mean, because I think that's where it becomes kind of cringy. As an adult watching films made for young children.
Yeah.
But either way, I mean,
I don't even know if I can get Amadeus to sit down long enough and pay attention long enough to finish that movie. Might have to wait till later.
Huh. Yeah, I mean, definitely want me to check it out, but I feel like a lot of other cartoon movies took that same storyline.
Yeah.
Yeah. Finding Nemo.
Yeah. Which was another fantastic movie.
Yeah, no, Finding Nemo was good.
It was really well done.
Well, should we keep going?
Yeah. I'm looking at the clock. We're approaching an hour right now.
All right, man.
I'm not even trying to speed it up. We got good time right now. What's your number two?
My number two, this movie, I think it came out when I was in high school, and
all right.
It's one of those movies you gotta watch a bunch of times to finally grasp the whole entirety of it. It's not just a sports movie. It's not just a love story. There's just a lot to it. And Jerry Maguire. There's so many good liners in it, and
that is a good movie.
There's so many, like, just the dialogue is dialogue I use in just my day-to-day life.
I know, right?
I mean, even like the help me help you kind of like
show me the money.
Yeah, like, and then even like I'm a sun devil, man. Like, yeah, this is great.
I'm supposed to be a superstar.
She's been to the circus and she's singing all the strings.
Yeah, I've used that line. Yeah.
Yeah, I know. Shoplift the pootie.
Yeah, shoplifted the pootie.
But my favorite line, man, is when he's getting on the bus and they're talking, and there's a part where he's trying to tell him to, like, you know, to be more.
You're telling me to dance.
Yeah, and telling him to play with passion and stuff. And he gets all pissed at the bus, and it's just like, he says, "No heart." He says, "I'm all heart, motherfucker."
Yes.
And then it goes to a different scene, but it's done so well, and again, the music on there is it's pretty smooth.
No heart. I'm all heart, motherfucker. Yes.
It's
good movie, man. Good movie.
But it's I think what kind of keeps me like into it is the fact that it's this sports agent that sends out a memo to this business he's a part of, and he kind of telling them that maybe they shouldn't be so focused on money and more about their personal connection to the athletes they support, and in a business where it's about the money, he's kind of like outcasted, and
they're like, fuck that.
So he kind of has to, he's limited on who he gets to work with, and is it Cuba Gooding Jr.? Cuba Gooding Jr.
Yeah.
Rod Chitwell, who's this guy that's like, he's a little small to be the position he plays at, but he has a lot of heart, and he has a lot of attitude too, so he doesn't always rub people the right way, and Jerry kind of has to sell him and kind of like get him to shine, and it's just, they have a good relationship together that it's like, they really do care for each other, even though they're business partners, and but he had to like be brave enough to write that statement and kind of put himself out there, because a lot of times we follow, or we're scared to say something.
Yeah, you don't speak up.
And so he spoke up, but he's kind of dealing with the consequences, but it's like shaping him to be a better person at the end. But I remember watching this bad, it was a bad review of it, because it was this guy that thought it was going to be like a football film, and it is a football. There's some football scenes in there, but it's not all football. And so, like Tom Cruise is crying at the end because he's kind of like did his girl wrong, and didn't really go through their relationship that right. So it's kind of like coming to terms with it and trying to win her back, and that's not football, So, it's kind of shows sports in a different light, but I love the film.
Who doesn't use the line? I gotta say it. You had me at hello. Good. It was a good film. That is gonna end. That's on one of my lists. That's another movie that I've seen a bunch of times over and over, and it still holds water. It's still, like you were talking about art earlier. You watch it and it gives you a feeling. You take something from it, and I totally agree. It's a great film.
Yeah, it's like hang your balls out there.
That's how you get famous, man. You hang your balls out there.
But there's funny part in there where the funny part is this kid tells him to fuck off, because his dad is like this, I don't know if he's a lineman, but he's like always getting concussions, and his son's like, when are you going to tell him to stop? And Jerry Maguire is so all about the business. He's just kind of like, he's unstoppable. He can go on forever, and the boy knows that that's not true, so he just says like, fuck you, and that's kind of what like kind of triggers him to think like, man, what am I doing to these people? And
it's the key moment in the film.
I mean, there's just
the turning point.
There's a lot of cool stuff in there.
Definitely good. It was a good film.
What do you take away from that?
From Jerry Maguire? Well, I'd rather just go on to my number 2, because I think you said it, man. I think Jerry Maguire is just a great film, and it hits on all these little
No, but when it came out, I didn't gravitate to it. It took me a while to finally.
I think we saw it in theaters. I want to say. And it was good. Yeah.
Nice. All right. Well, what's your number 2? What is it? What do you got?
I just want to say I always hear Cuba Gooding Jr. singing that fucking song at the wedding. To be in love here today, yeah. Oh, okay. Number 2 for me. This is one that I just solidified the list with, where I realized it had to be on the list. And again, it's a complete different direction from what you just brought up, but it's Prometheus.
Prometheus.
So it's still relatively new, I guess. I don't know when it came out, but it's a science fiction movie. And I think it was like the next installment in the Aliens trilogy, or what do you call it? There's like 5 Aliens movies now before this one came out. What do you call a 5 movie?
Is it a saga?
Is that it?
I don't know.
That sounds right. Let's go with that. So, Prometheus was relatively new. It came out later on in my life, and as I'll say now, and I'll always say again, I'm a scientist. My mind is like math and science oriented. With there's an undertone of a lot of emotion that I have, but overall, my brain rules over my heart. And Prometheus, it's one of those movies. It's all right. If you guys haven't seen it, you got to go see it. It's like part 6 and it might have even. There's kind of hints that it's a continuation of the Alien series, but Prometheus, they find DNA, or what is it? They don't find DNA. They find. It kind of goes with the Ancient Aliens narrative, where they find connections upon all these cultures that have never come in contact with each other, and they all speak of people who came from the stars. And then they find clues that it's the same group of stars in all these ancient cultures, and that leads them to go, well, we found the star group, we're gonna go there. We found a planet that might be inhabitable. So that kicks off the movie, and it's this giant space race, travel, exploration movie, science fiction, scary at times, but like, it's the hunt for knowledge and the answer to the question of where we came from and why we're here on planet Earth. And that just does it for me, man. Like, I love the fear and violence that the kind of series of the Aliens brings, but at the same time, there's this like huge, uplifting, gazing towards the stars feeling that I have. And even now, like to this day, I'm feeling more and more curious about space than ever before. And it's Ancient Aliens. They made a couple documentaries about the Voyager program. And the golden album, the golden plated albums with all these samples of humanity and pictures and all this information. And it's sent out in hopes of making contact. Hopefully someone finds it with enough advanced ability to come and find us. That's kind of like a global hope. And so that movie really did that for me. It was like it was trying to hint at and answer that big question. And I don't think it actually does in the end, but it got my mind going in that direction. And I was very excited, and I was like, man, that affected me. It clicked on some part of me, this need for knowledge that really, like, that resonates with me. Like, I want I want more skills. I want more knowledge. I have more questions and more questions that lead to more questions, and like it's a never-ending search for knowledge that I feel all the time, like just kind of hovering over me. This need to learn more and to explore, and I'm constantly looking up, like wondering about other planets and other life. And Prometheus, man, that's my number 2 movie right there.
You know what Prometheus means, or what it comes from?
I know the legends.
Isn't it Greek mythology? Like a...
Yes, I want to say yes.
A god, or not a god, or a guy named Prometheus, right?
Yeah.
And he has a flame of knowledge, right? And then people steal it and use it. He steals it.
Yeah, from the gods.
Oh, okay.
And he gives it to the people. So the humans. And with it, he creates civilization, or we create civilization with knowledge.
Okay.
And,
nice.
And really, in all the ancient alien stories, it comes down to knowledge and know-how. You know, like Stonehenge and all the giant blocks is like, how the hell did they do that? Even today, we would have trouble doing that.
Wow.
In some ways, we wouldn't even be able to do it. You know, in some situations. So, very cool.
No, that's... Yeah, we really got to do more deep diving into the space kind of.
Dude, I could talk about it. I could talk about it all day, from many different angles, because I'm very, very interested in it. It sucks. Like I would like to see the surface of Mars, but I don't think I'm gonna live that long, or ever have that ability. So it's all theoretical at this point, which is sad. But I'm still curious about it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's still kind of something to ponder on.
Yeah, definitely.
Not fantasize, but it's not even fantasy. It's sort of like if I could, I would, but I can't. So I'm just gonna tell you what I'm gonna.
Somebody's going to, man. It could become a giant failure, but we're going, man. They're working on it right now. Like, I don't know if it'll ever become like the big
the place to go.
You know, commercial. They're talking about commercial flights to Mars or commercial space travel. Like, I don't know if it'll ever be all that. Because of the danger and the time involved, like, you know, it's gonna take forever. With our current capabilities, it would take forever to get over there. Like, I think it was either years or 6 months. I can't remember. It was like they would launch our probe, and then it was just waiting. And then years later or months later, we finally get something back. So that whole part of it, I think, and like I guess you had to be fit to make the trip. They don't want to just be, you know, carrying a bunch of dead bodies with them. So I don't know if it'll ever become commercial, but it's gonna happen. We've already been to Mars. It's within reach. I just don't know if it'll ever become more than, you know, one new technology that still doesn't answer the questions, that still doesn't get us where we still want to be. Which sucks, but hey, that's how it goes.
Yeah. I don't.
So moving on, I want to know what your number one is. You got a crazy fucking list. I'm looking at it. Well, I guess we both do. They're kind of random.
Yeah, I mean, I thought you were gonna name some more superhero movies, some more hero movies, that's how it started out. But then now you're in the science part, so
yeah.
And then Land Before Time, I'm like, what the hell? You shot me with that one, man.
Yeah. Well, you got me with Juice. I was like, gangsta. Like, what could Juice teach you?
Man, I don't even know what you're gonna get from this next one. This is my number one movie.
Hit me with it.
Blood In, Blood Out.
Blood In, Blood. Dad, you know what? Yeah.
Bound by Honor.
Bound by Honor.
Blood
In, Blood Out.
I don't know, man. There's just so many. It's like a great story that's full circle all the way to the end, and it's just, so many lessons and hard truths that they gotta kind of live with, and
really hard truths.
And who you start out as is not who you end up as, or you kind of do in a way, and it's just, maybe it was a lot of the East LA, Los Angeles kind of culture, the Chicano sort of, I don't know, just everything about it was just intriguing, the language and like some movies like American Me and where there's prison. Yeah, the element of prison was kind of a
big element. Was prison
was in the movie and how it plays out on the streets and just. It's a long movie to where you kind of got to be kind of growing with the characters, because they start out as like teenagers and they get into some shit with the rival gang, and it kind of has them decide what they want to do. One guy decides he wants to be doing the military, and that's the guy that's kind of like running the gang, or
he was the baddest dude in the group.
The influential one, yeah. Actually ends up becoming a cop and one of the main guys that are trying to like stop the gang violence, and so it's like his character is bettering, but it kind of also at times he's sort of the guy in the family that's the narc, or it's sort of like the guy that's, because he has to kill, he has to shoot one of his cousins, right? I mean, it's like his first cousin, and he shoots him in the leg.
Oh yeah.
And so like he, I mean, because he's a cop and because he's doing his job, he has to shoot his relative. And
did he though? Did he have to pull that trigger? I mean, there's cop violence going on right now. This is the issue, people. I think that moral. He aimed lower. He aimed lower to the leg. He didn't know it was going to turn out that way, but he didn't shoot to kill. Let's take that away.
Well, I mean, I think he still was more conflicted with whether he should shoot or not even shoot, and just let him go.
Yeah.
But
you were saying the moral of the story.
I don't know what the moral of the story is. It's just sort of, all these different twists and turns you're kind of dealing with. It's like if you're lucky to come out at the end of it or not be in prison, then maybe it's not such a bad thing. But I mean, there's a lot of sad parts in there though that are like that come along with, you know, sort of coming to that realization of your life, you know, like, I know, like, when that kid dies because he, I don't know if he takes heroin, but his mom finds him and he's dead, and that's when she drops the tea jars. I always remember that scene. And
was it like two whole gallons of tea? Yeah,
I think so. It's been a while since I watched it. I need to rewatch it, but
yeah.
I mean, it's a tragic film, but there's a lot of funny scenes in it as well, and like the music in it is still good too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of like, even like the Day of the Dead, when they plan that big gang, police gang, like everybody ganging up on each other, and they revolve it around the holidays. So even some of the imagery going on is just pretty heavy. Is it the horns? It's done very well. It's done very well.
No, it's a good movie. That's another one I would quote, but I don't want to quote it right now.
Yeah, there's a lot of questionable stuff where
that kind of movie would make you grow up if you haven't. You know what I mean? Like if you haven't experienced, if you haven't been exposed to that type of stuff, that movie will definitely make you grow up.
Yeah, for real.
So that is one of those movies. Like, I totally agree with that one. Yeah.
Yeah. That's my number one.
Sweet. That's a good number one. It's a solid number one.
Thanks. What about you, man? What do you got?
This is like the culmination of the other movies, and it also kind of brings us back to the number 5 and kind of what you were talking about, heroes. The main character is kind of the anti-hero. The movie is bringing out the dead.
Bringing out the dead.
I'm sure I've mentioned it before in our previous episodes, and on my own separate podcast I've mentioned it before too. Is Bringing Out the Dead. It's Nicolas Cage. He works in an ambulance with other. He's a paramedic. And he works with all these other paramedics on different shifts, and they're working in the streets of New York, and it's fucking nuts. I think it's a Scorsese or a Frank Capra. I think it's Scorsese that made it. I didn't know that until way after the fact, but that movie changed my life. I think what it did is it finally gave me the path. Like I was talking earlier about wanting to be the man. You know what I mean? Like wanting to be the guy with the skills.
Yeah.
Wanting to enter an emergency situation.
Taking charge. The guy taking charge.
Yeah, taking charge and saving lives. Emergency medicine.
Yeah.
That kicked it off for me.
But why is he the anti-hero?
Because it's a fucking dark-ass movie. And in the end, he's no longer a paramedic. I think he quits his job. But it's like he's having a dilemma through the entire movie. It's like, I think one of the lines is like, there was a point in my life where my hands moved like lightning, and they were swift, and I would save lives, and I couldn't, nothing could bring me down. People were, whenever I showed up, people lived, you know. It was like, there was that time, and then he goes back, and he's all dark, and he's fucking got sunken in eyes, and it's like, but now I haven't saved someone in months. And he keeps going back to this girl that died, and it seemed like there was no reason for her to die, but it was somebody he lost. And then he starts as he starts going down the rabbit hole, all his ghosts are coming back to haunt him, especially this one girl that he lost. And it's like he knows how to. He's been trained to save lives, and he's not saving lives. And it's like nothing's working out. And in the end, I think he does. I mean, I don't want to ruin it for any of you who haven't seen this old-ass movie, but he finally saves somebody, and I think in a way saves himself. And it's like they're doing the whole time during the movie. They're doing powerful things. They're bringing people back from the dead. They're delivering babies. They're rescuing somebody after being hit in the head with a bat, like gunshot victims. They're showing up in all these horrible, messed up situations, and they're trying to save people. Like that's their job, and it kind of shined light on what I wanted to do, and it was to get into medicine, which is funny because I'm not even in medicine right now, but I've been thinking about it and wanting to get back. And it's like it was that movie that started me down that path. Like I had seen it, I think a couple times before it actually clicked. But I remember specifically one night. I think it was when I was living in Ajo. Not really doing anything. I was just kind of I don't know. I wasn't doing anything. I was just kind of bored, stagnant, and I came back to my parents' house in Coalfields, and in the middle of the night, that movie came on, and I watched it, and it was enthralling. Like it had my attention. It was like this. I could do that. I was looking at it, and I was like, I could do that.
Yeah. And
I think it would give me everything I ever wanted. It will let me be the man I wanted to be. And of course, when I got certified, I went a whole different direction in the hospital, in medical research and all that. I didn't go work on an ambulance. I worked for a short while, like an emergency service for the U of A, but I didn't. It wasn't an ambulance. It was on like a golf cart, and we would just show up right before the fire department would show up, and we'd give them the vitals and pass them off, and then we'd go about our night and wait for the next call. Bunch of drunk teenage girls, bunch of that. And that movie changed my life. It put me on a path where from now on, every emergency situation I'm going to enter it with kind of a cool head, where I know if I had to, I could probably save a life. So, and that's kind of what I wanted. Like, even if I never make it back on an ambulance, if I never make it back into that kind of life, I will still have the skills, and that I think that was the ultimate goal for me. Like it always is I'm picking up skills for life.
Yeah.
For whenever that begins, but bringing out the dead was what kicked it off. What kind of made me see the path. Like I approach life that way a lot. If I can't see the path, I don't take the steps. I don't go that way. And once I saw that movie and I just kind of understood, it clicked, and I was like, "This is what I can do," and I did it. I went out and did it.
Damn.
So. There you go. That's my number one.
Where do you like Nicolas Cage's other movies?
I just finished watching another one of his. I was watching what the hell was I was watching The Rock when you called.
Oh,
I was watching The Rock, which is a good movie.
Yeah, that's with what's the guy's name?
Sean Connery.
Yes, Sean Connery.
Yeah, I'm starting to realize Nick Cage is insane. Like that man's insane. If you start, I saw this. Please, people, look this up. Look up Nick Cage acts crazy on YouTube, and there'll be some movie there's like a montage of all his like crazy scenes in all these movies. And you realize Nick Cage is insane. He's insane, and he's the same guy in all these movies. And I never realized it until I saw that. And I was like, oh my God, Nick Cage is insane. And now, like, whenever I watch a Nick Cage movie, it's like it's completely apparent to me that he's insane, and it kind of makes me enjoy it a little more.
I think of Con Air.
That's another good one.
I imagine him in Con Air. But yeah,
I got you this bunny, darling.
I gotta check this one out. But did the film have like a certain message at the end that was like? It seemed like you were talking about him doing the job versus what the story in the film was saying, or did I miss that?
I hinted at it. We didn't really cover it. I was saying he had a dilemma from the get-go, and at some point, like, he cracks, and he's still trying to do this job while on the side wrestling with who he is. And in the end, I think he finally faces his demons, and that's when he saves a life. For the first time in months or years, it's like he kept going back and focusing on Rose, the girl that he lost, and I think it was killing him, tearing him down, like making him weak and like distracted, and that led to more death. Maybe not necessarily by his hand, but it made him not as good. And in the end of the movie, he faced his demons, apologized for not saving the girl. He actually kills a guy in the movie too on purpose as a mercy, which is a whole other thing. He kills a guy. He's a paramedic and he kills a guy on purpose, but it's like a mercy kill. It's like he's putting this man out of his misery. And then, which is crazy because like the whole time he's talking about, you know, struggling to save lives and he can't, and then he chooses to kill this guy. And then in the end he saves a guy. And it's like it like just comes full circle to him facing his demons and getting what he ultimately wanted, was to start saving lives again. And so he pulls it off. But like I said, in the end, I think he's walking away. Like he's like, I'm good. And he's just walking off. Like it kind of leaves it hanging. Like, all right, is he done, or is he just walking away for the day? It's a trip. If any of you have not seen it, if you haven't seen it in a while, go back and watch it. It's a good one, for sure. No, I'll tell you this, guy. This whole list thing, I do like it. I like that we're kind of coming in with prepared something to talk about.
Oh yeah, no, I like how it goes back and forth.
Yeah, that too.
Even doing a list in general even by yourself is fun. I do it a lot with sports athletes, favorite teams, just kind of favorite songs, playlists, just lists are fun.
Yeah, I can see you at your desk with your tongue sticking out the side and you're working on your list. Middle of the night, all dark with a single light on, working on his list.
Yeah. It's just how I do, man.
Well, I think we're done for the day here, my man. We're at an hour and a half, and I think we've covered a lot of good stuff.
Yeah, no, I'm happy with the show.
Yeah.
Kind of rethinking about some of these movies and realizing some of. Well, let me ask you this: what films are we not talking about that should be talked about?
Well, seeing your approach with Jerry Maguire and Blood In, Blood Out, like I kind of thought of Shawshank Redemption.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Which is just a movie I really fucking enjoy. Like I think it's interesting that your list, in my mind, has solidified what I kind of already knew about you, was that you're into grunge, you're into the 90s, which, you know, that's when we grew up, and then you're really into music. Like you mentioned music with every single movie, which makes sense because like you're a great musician, and I've always admired that about you, is your commitment to music, like your love for music. It's like everybody says they love music, but you practice it, and I think it's reflected in your list, your strange list. This is a weird list that I wrote it down as you were going. Rounders, Singles, Juice, Jerry Maguire, Blood In, Blood Out. That is a strange fucking list of movies, but oh hell. Oh, it's 8 o'clock. So yeah, bro. Like, interesting. Yeah. It solidified what I thought about you, but at the same time, it kind of opened my eyes to what you see. You know what I mean? What you see, like your takeaways from the movies.
Yeah,
Really, I found them interesting. It kind of taught me more about you.
Okay.
Very cool.
Well, right back at you. I should have wrote the movies down. But no, I get a lot of action here. A lot of action and a lot of main character sort of stepping in when they need to be called on, and sort of rising to the occasion or not rising to the occasion. But the Land Before Time thing, man, that's like
what?
You dug a little deep for that, man. So
yeah, it was a random one.
Yeah, I didn't think about that, and I forgot that the parents died at the beginning. So
yeah, awful.
I might have just fast forwarded to the middle part.
That's a tearjerker right there, man.
Oh man, yeah, no, I didn't associate it with being a tearjerker, but
right,
kind of talking about it, and even again the realistic version of Land Before Time is the dinosaurs are dead.
Yeah, it was a darker film. Like if you just look at the first one versus any of the others, like I think I tried to watch a couple of them. Like I think I went as far as 3, and once they started breaking into song, I had to turn it off. And it didn't and I didn't know why. But like the original one was dark. I mean, you want to talk grunge, man? That thing was dark. And if you think about the color scheme they used, there was a lot.
That's what it got me thinking right now.
Yeah, like blacks, like really dark blacks and dark
and dark greens and
like
dark blues,
very low blues, like just. And then if you look at all the other ones, like it's all sunny and like bright neon green grass and yellows and bright reds. It's all very happy and bright. But the original was dark and action-filled and adventurous and a little more real, which I think I liked.
Yeah.
And it was definitely a freaking life shaper for me as a kid. I really think it oops, my freaking mic. I really think it kind of shaped my emotions, or at least taught me to expound on them, like to make. I don't know where I'm going with this. It was a good movie. That's why it's on my list. Number 3.
Oh yeah, no, you gotta keep going, even though you lose your what do you call it?
You lose everything.
Yeah, you still gotta go.
His parents were everything.
Yeah. I thought his grandparents were taking care of him, though.
They were, and then I think Sharptooth showed up, and they all got separated.
Okay.
But in the beginning, when they had him, like after his parents died, the grandparents had him, and they're like, hey, they were talking about this, like everything was volcanic, the land was changing, and they were talking about going on this long journey to the land of, basically milk and honey. It's the promised land that they were headed towards, and they all got separated because of Sharptooth and volcanoes. He's left all alone, and he knew that's why he had a direction. He's like, if I keep following the sun or whatever, I can't really remember what it was, but he's like, if I keep going this way, I'll find it, and I'll find my grandparents, and I'll be okay. And the others are like, the angry ass Sarah and the weird. They were all different.
Yeah. Well, that was the funny part about it. It was like, they all had their distinctions that made them who they were, but it was sort of like, you're that person, I'm this person, kind of.
Yeah.
You're not. I'm not better, but I always felt that competitiveness of, I'm a different species than you or something.
Yeah.
But we can still be friends.
Yeah.
So yeah, I made a lot of life jewels in that, man.
Yeah. Definitely.
So good one, man.
Do you got anything for the audience here? Any last words?
No, Gladiator, Avatar.
Oh shit, Gladiator. Okay.
The Prophecy.
All right. Yeah. Gladiator.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport.
Yeah. Those are the only ones I could think of, like off of the dome that aren't. Well, we're not talking about that. Maybe might have made the list if we did top 10.
Yeah. No, Gladiator for sure. That was another man of honor.
Oh yeah. He's not entertained.
Being estranged, losing everything, and then because he's the honorable man, he comes back and does what he has to do. Great fucking movie.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
So.
All right.
Nah, these film ones are good, man. I like them.
Yeah, no, I think we're on to something. I think we could do this more often. There's the lists and movies or whatever, the association with movies. Like.
For sure.
Okay. Well, thanks for tuning in, guys, and I'm gonna start working probably tomorrow on the next release. I'm gonna try to get us
cracking.
Yeah.
Chop.
All right. And on that note,
peace out.
Peace out, people. Thanks for tuning in.